Hello, my friends. Welcome to this live session on my motivational story channel. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you all here today. The purpose of this channel is simple: to inspire you, to share stories that fill your heart with courage and bring fresh energy into your life.
1111, Stephen Covey. This influential self-help classic offers a roadmap to achieving both personal and professional effectiveness by focusing on core principles and character development. Covey's book has been praised for its practical advice and its emphasis on aligning personal and professional practices with core values. Its impact on leadership and personal development has been profound. So, let's dive right in. Powerful Lessons from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, summarized and presented by Wisdom Matrix 1111. Before we dive into the habits themselves, let's start with the foundation, an inside-out approach to life. Covey reminds us that real change starts from within. It's not about fixing the external world, but about aligning our character and principles with the values that guide us. This is where the magic happens. When we change from the inside, our external world transforms. Habit 1. Be proactive. Take control of your life. Don't just react. Act. Stephen Covey emphasizes that being proactive is the foundation of all personal effectiveness. It's about understanding that you are responsible for your own life. You have the power to choose your responses, no matter what external circumstances you face. This habit teaches that your life doesn't have to be shaped by what happens to you. Rather, it's defined by how you choose to respond to what happens. Imagine this. Life throws all kinds of challenges at you, difficult people, unexpected setbacks, and even failures. The reactive person might feel trapped, controlled by the circumstances or the actions of others. They might blame external factors, thinking, there's nothing I can do about it. But being proactive flips the script. It's about recognizing that while you may not be able to control everything around you, you can always control how you respond. You can choose your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. Covey introduces the concept of the circle of concern and the circle of influence to help you grasp this idea. The circle of concern includes everything that you worry about: your job, relationships, health, and even world events. Some of these things are within your control, and some are not. The circle of influence, on the other hand, includes the things you can directly affect: your actions, your words, and your behavior. The more you focus on your circle of influence, the more you expand it. When you spend your energy on things you can control, rather than stressing over things you can't, you start to feel more empowered. This shift in focus allows you to make positive changes in your life, bit by bit. Being proactive also means recognizing your own responsibility. The word responsibility itself is key here. Covey breaks it down as your ability to respond. You have the ability to respond to any situation in a way that aligns with your values and your goals. Instead of just reacting to life's demands, you consciously decide how you will act, based on what's most important to you. For example, let's say someone criticizes you at work. A reactive person might immediately feel hurt, defensive, or even lash out. A proactive person, however, would take a step back and ask themselves, how can I respond in a way that's aligned with my values? What can I learn from this? They focus on what they can control: their reaction, their attitude, and their approach to the situation. Covey also talks about the language you use both in your mind and in your conversations with others. Reactive language sounds like, I have to do this, or there's nothing I can do. Proactive language, on the other hand, is empowering. I choose to do this, or I can find a solution. By shifting your language, you shift your mindset from one of victimhood to one of empowerment. Another powerful aspect of being proactive is understanding that your life is a product of your decisions, not your conditions. This is where personal leadership begins. You take ownership of your life. It's about stepping into a place of empowerment where you no longer feel controlled by the outside world, but instead feel driven by your internal values and principles. Remember, being proactive is a daily practice. It's not something that happens overnight, but as you continue to focus on what you can control, you'll start to notice a shift. You'll feel more empowered, more in control, and more aligned with the life you want to create. So, as you start applying this first habit, ask yourself, where in your life can you shift from reacting to proactively responding? What can you focus on today that will make a positive difference? It's a powerful place to start, and it sets the tone for the rest of your journey through the 7 habits. Habit 2, begin with the end in mind. Picture your life as a masterpiece and you're the artist. Habit 2 is all about vision and purpose. Covey asks you to imagine yourself at the end of your life. What do you want people to say about you? What do you want to have accomplished? This might seem like a heavy exercise, but it's powerful because it forces you to think about what truly matters. Instead of getting caught up in the day-to-day grind, you're encouraged to focus on the big picture, to begin with the end in mind. The idea here is that everything you do should align with a clear vision of the life you want to create. It's about being intentional, crafting a life that reflects your deepest values and goals, rather than just letting life happen to you. When you have a clear sense of your purpose, your actions become more focused, and you start making decisions that guide you toward that purpose. Covey emphasizes the importance of creating a personal mission statement. This is a statement that articulates your values, your vision, and your principles. It serves as your personal compass, something you can refer to whenever you're making decisions or facing challenges. Think of it as the North Star that guides you in the direction you want your life to go. By having this personal mission, you are constantly reminded of what is most important to you, and it helps you stay on track. Take a moment to reflect. What are your core values? What legacy do you want to leave behind? Covey encourages you to take the time to write these down in a personal mission statement. This isn't something you do hastily. It's a process of self-discovery, where you really dive deep into your heart and ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What impact do I want to have? Once you've established your mission, the next step is to start aligning your daily actions with it. Covey uses the metaphor of a ladder to explain this. Imagine your life as a ladder that you're climbing. It's easy to get caught up in climbing faster and faster, working harder, achieving more. But if your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall, you could end up somewhere you never intended to be. This habit helps you make sure your ladder is leaning against the right wall, so all your efforts are moving you toward your ultimate vision. It's also about living by design rather than by default. When you begin with the end in mind, you stop living reactively. Instead of just responding to whatever life throws at you, you proactively design your life. You're no longer just going with the flow, but instead steering your ship toward the destination you've chosen. Another key aspect of Habit 2 is understanding the difference between leadership and management. Covey explains that leadership is about doing the right things, while management is about doing things right. Beginning with the end in mind is an act of leadership. It's about setting the right direction for your life, making sure that what you're pursuing aligns with your values and purpose. Once you have that direction, management comes into play, making sure that the actions you take are effective and efficient. In this habit, Covey also stresses the importance of visualization. He suggests that you visualize the outcomes you want in every area of your life, whether it's your career, relationships, health, or personal development. Visualization isn't just daydreaming. It's about mentally creating the results you desire and then taking the actions to manifest them in reality. When you visualize success, you're programming your mind to achieve that success. As you begin to apply Habit 2, ask yourself, what is the vision for your life? Have you taken the time to define it clearly? What does success look like for you, not just in terms of career or money, but in terms of who you are as a person? By answering these questions, you'll start to uncover the deeper purpose that will guide your actions moving forward. Remember, beginning with the end in mind is not just about long-term life goals. It's a habit you can apply in everyday situations. Whether you're planning your week, a meeting, or even a conversation, start with a clear vision of what you want to achieve. When you know what you want the outcome to be, your actions become more purposeful and aligned. As you practice this habit, you'll find yourself living with greater clarity and intention, making choices that reflect your deepest desires and leading a life that truly feels like your own. Habit 3, put first things first. Prioritize what matters most in your life and stay focused on what truly moves you forward. Habit 3 is where your vision and values, the ones you clarified in Habit 2, come to life through your daily actions. It's about execution, discipline, and making sure that what you do each day aligns with your highest priorities. If Habit 2 is about leadership and setting the right direction, Habit 3 is about management by the outside that path with focus and intention. Think of your life as a busy highway filled with distractions, competing demands, and endless tasks. Without prioritization, you can easily end up overwhelmed, working hard, but not making any real progress toward the life you've envisioned. Habit 3 is your roadmap to cutting through the noise and keeping your eyes on what truly matters. Covey emphasizes the importance of time management, but in a way that goes far beyond traditional techniques like to-do lists and schedules. He introduces what's known as the time management matrix, which helps you organize your activities based on 2 key dimensions: urgency and importance. In the matrix, you'll find 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1, urgent and important. These are the crises and pressing problems that demand immediate attention, things like emergencies, deadlines, or last-minute preparations. While Quadrant 1 tasks are inevitable, spending too much time here can lead to stress and burnout. Quadrant 2, not urgent, but important. This is the most powerful quadrant, the one where true effectiveness lies. It's where you focus on proactive activities like planning, relationship building, personal development, and strategic thinking. These are the actions that align with your long-term goals, but because they're not urgent, they can easily be neglected if you're not intentional. Covey stresses that spending time in Quadrant 2 is the key to leading a balanced, fulfilling life. Quadrant 3, urgent but not important. These are the distractions that may feel urgent but don't actually contribute to your long-term success. Think of interruptions, unnecessary meetings, or minor issues that pull you away from what's truly important. Many people get stuck here, feeling busy but not productive. Quadrant 4, not urgent and not important. This quadrant includes the activities that waste your time, like mindless scrolling on social media, excessive TV watching, or any other unproductive habits. Spending too much time here leads to stagnation and lack of progress. Covey suggests spending the majority of time in Quadrant 2, focusing on the things that are important but not urgent. These are the activities that move you closer to your vision and allow you to grow as a person. It's about being proactive rather than reactive and making intentional decisions about how you invest your time. Putting first things first requires discipline. It's about saying no to the distractions and demands that don't align with your goals, and sometimes that can be difficult. Covey talks about the concept of courageous leadership, the courage to prioritize your life according to what matters most to you, even when it's not the easiest path. Ask yourself, what are the things in your life that truly matter? It might be nurturing your relationships, taking care of your health, working toward a meaningful goal, or spending time on personal growth. These are your first things. Now, look at how you spend your time. Are these priorities reflected in your daily actions? Covey introduces the idea of big rocks as a way to visualize this. Imagine you have a jar and you need to fill it with rocks, gravel, and sand. If you put the sand and gravel in first, the small, less important tasks, there won't be room for the big rocks, the things that matter most. But if you put the big rocks in first, the sand and gravel will naturally fill in the spaces around them. This metaphor encourages you to schedule your most important tasks first and let the smaller, less significant ones fit in around them. Habit 3 also requires that you develop a strong sense of purpose and clarity. When you know what your big rocks are, your quadrant 2 activities, you can confidently plan your days, weeks, and months around them. This is about living a life of focus and integrity, where your actions are a direct reflection of your priorities. Covey reminds you that this isn't just about time management, it's about self-management. It's about consciously choosing how you allocate your energy, focus, and attention. When you put first things first, you're not just getting more done, you're getting the right things done. Finally, habit 3 challenges you to think about balance. Life is full of different roles, whether it's as a professional, a partner, a parent, or a friend, and each role has its own demands. Part of putting first things first is finding harmony among these roles, making sure that none of them is neglected while you pursue your larger goals. Covey encourages you to define your roles clearly and allocate time for each one, so you can give them the attention they deserve without feeling pulled in too many directions. As you begin to implement Habit 3, remember that it's a daily practice. Prioritizing what matters most is an ongoing process. But each time you choose to focus on the important over the urgent, you're taking a step toward living a life that's aligned with your values and your vision. Next, habit 4, think win-win. Seek mutual benefit in every interaction and relationship. Believe that there's enough for everyone. Habit 4 is a fundamental shift in mindset. It's about cultivating an abundance mentality, where success isn't a limited resource, and where you believe that in any situation there is the possibility for both you and others to benefit. Covey describes win-win as a philosophy of human interaction that seeks to create outcomes that are beneficial for everyone involved, rather than just focusing on your own gain. This habit goes beyond simple compromise. It's about finding solutions that allow both parties to win, to walk away feeling satisfied and respected. Covey explains that win-win thinking comes from a place of integrity, maturity, and an abundance mindset. It's grounded in the belief that there is plenty of opportunity, success, and happiness to go around, and that someone else's success does not diminish your own. But thinking win-win is not always easy. Our culture often emphasizes competition and scarcity, the belief that for one person to win, someone else must lose. Habit 4 challenges this zero-sum mentality and invites you to embrace collaboration, synergy, and mutual benefit. Let's break this down further. Covey outlines 6 paradigms of human interaction. 1. Win-win. Both parties come out ahead. You're not just looking to satisfy your own needs, but to ensure that the other person's needs are met as well. This creates a foundation for trust and long-term relationships. 2. Win-lose. This is the mindset of competition, where you win at the expense of someone else. It's driven by power, authority, or manipulation. While this approach may bring short-term success, it often leads to resentment, damaged relationships, and an environment of mistrust. 3. Lose-win. In this paradigm, you allow the other person to win at your own expense. It's the attitude of giving in or backing down to avoid conflict. People with this mentality often suppress their own needs and desires, which can lead to frustration and a lack of fulfillment. 4. Lose-lose. When both parties are unwilling to find a solution and insist on a win-lose approach, the result is a lose-lose outcome. This is the mentality of, if I can't win, neither can you. It often results in mutual destruction and wasted opportunities. 5. Win. In this mindset, you focus solely on your own success, without regard for the other party's needs or outcomes. You're solely driven by personal gain, which can lead to short-term victories, but may damage long-term relationships. 6. Win-win or no deal. This is the highest form of win-win thinking. It means that if you can't find a solution that benefits both parties, you agree to walk away without an agreement. This ensures that both parties retain their integrity and prevents resentment from festering. Covey emphasizes that win-win is not about being nice or permissive. It's a principle-centered approach that requires you to be both courageous and considerate. It's about balancing your own needs with the needs of others and working to find solutions that respect both sides. This requires a high degree of emotional maturity because you need to understand not only your own perspective, but also be able to empathize with the perspective of others. In order to think win-win, you need to cultivate 3 key character traits. 1. Integrity. This is about being true to your values and principles. It's about knowing what you stand for and staying committed to those values, even when it's difficult. 2. Maturity. Maturity is the balance between courage and consideration. It's having the courage to stand up for your own needs, while also considering and valuing the needs of others. 3. Abundance mentality. The abundance mentality is the belief that there's enough for everyone. It's the opposite of scarcity thinking, which drives competition and fear of loss. When you believe in abundance, you're more open to sharing success and creating opportunities for others. One of the most powerful aspects of Habit 4 is that it transforms relationships. Whether you're dealing with colleagues, friends, family, or even strangers, when you approach situations with a win-win mindset, you build trust and foster collaboration. People feel valued when they know you care about their success as much as your own, and this strengthens the bond between you. Covey also introduces the concept of emotional bank accounts in relation to Habit 4. Every interaction you have with another person is like making a deposit or withdrawal from a bank account. Positive actions, such as showing respect, keeping commitments, and seeking mutual benefit, are like deposits that build trust. Negative actions, such as breaking promises, being disrespectful, or thinking only of yourself, are withdrawals that diminish trust. The more you operate with a win-win mentality, the more deposits you make into these emotional bank accounts, and the stronger your relationships become. To implement Habit 4, start by looking at your interactions with others. Are you approaching them with a win-win mindset? Or are you leaning more toward a win-lose or lose-win approach? Practice seeking solutions that benefit both parties and watch how your relationships begin to flourish. Whether in negotiations, team collaborations, or personal relationships, you'll find that when both parties feel like they've won, the outcome is far more sustainable and fulfilling. Remember, thinking win-win requires both courage and consideration. It challenges you to rise above selfishness and to seek a higher level of success, where everyone involved feeling valued and satisfied. Moving on to Habit 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen with empathy and open-mindedness before expressing your own point of view. Habit 5 is about a profound shift in communication. It emphasizes the importance of truly understanding another person's perspective before trying to make your own understood. This habit is at the heart of effective interpersonal relationships and is key to creating trust, resolving conflicts, and achieving true collaboration. Too often, when you engage in conversation, you may find yourself listening with the intent to reply, not with the intent to understand. You may be so focused on formulating your response or expressing your own viewpoint that you fail to fully comprehend what the other person is actually saying. Covey argues that this type of communication is reactive and unproductive. In Habit 5, he invites you to practice empathetic listening deeply with the intent to understand the other person's feelings, thoughts, and concerns. Empathetic listening requires you to put yourself in the other person's shoes. It's not just about hearing the words they're saying, but about tuning into their emotions, their body language, and the underlying meaning behind their words. It's about connecting with them on a deeper level, beyond just surface communication. Covey explains that most people listen at one of these 4 levels. 1. Ignoring. You're not really listening at all. You may be physically present, but your mind is elsewhere. 2. Pretending. You're giving the appearance of listening, perhaps nodding or giving short verbal acknowledgements, but you're not really paying attention. 3. Selective listening. You're only hearing parts of the conversation that interest you or align with your own thoughts and feelings. 4. Attentive listening. You're paying attention to the words being said, but only on a superficial level. You're focused on the literal content, but not necessarily on the emotions or deeper meaning behind the words. However, Covey encourages you to move beyond these levels and practice the highest form of listening, empathetic listening. Empathetic listening goes beyond words. It's about understanding the other person's point of view from their perspective. You listen not just with your ears, but with your heart, your eyes, and your intuition. You listen to understand what the other person is feeling and experiencing. This type of listening builds trust because it shows the other person that you truly care about what they have to say. It's a powerful way to diffuse conflict, resolve misunderstandings, and strengthen relationships. When people feel heard and understood, they are more likely to open up, share more honestly, and be receptive to your own thoughts and ideas. Covey describes empathetic listening as a shift from autobiographical responses, where you filter everything through your own lens, your own experiences, and your own assumptions, to empathetic responses, where you seek to understand the other person's experience first, without judgment or bias. So now, here's how you can move toward empathetic listening. First, listen without judgment. Put aside your own opinions and judgments while the other person is speaking. Your goal is to understand their perspective, not to evaluate or critique it. Next, pay attention to both verbal and non-verbal cues. People communicate not just through words, but also through tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. These cues often reveal more about how a person is truly feeling than the words they use. As you do this, reflect back what you hear. Summarize what the other person has said to ensure you've understood correctly. This not only shows that you're paying attention, but also gives the other person an opportunity to clarify or elaborate on their thoughts. Additionally, resist the urge to interrupt. Give the other person the space to fully express themselves before you jump in with your own thoughts. Even if you feel a strong urge to respond, wait until they've finished speaking. Finally, ask clarifying questions. If something is unclear or you want to better understand their perspective, ask open-ended questions that encourage them to elaborate. This shows that you're genuinely interested in understanding them fully. Once you have taken the time to understand the other person, only then should you seek to be understood. Covey emphasizes that the order here is crucial. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. When you truly understand the other person's perspective, your response will be much more effective because it will be based on a deeper understanding of the situation. Covey explains that communication is a two-way street, and if you want to be heard, you must first be willing to hear. This habit fosters a win-win environment where both parties feel understood and respected. It lays the foundation for collaboration, problem-solving, and meaningful relationships. Imagine you're in a conflict or disagreement. Rather than jumping to defend your position or convince the other person of your viewpoint, take a step back and listen. Listen with the intent to understand their perspective fully. Once they feel heard and valued, they're much more likely to listen to your perspective in return. The result is often a more productive, respectful, and cooperative conversation. Habit 5 is not just about communication, it's about building trust and emotional connections. Whether you're working on a project with colleagues, navigating a difficult conversation with a loved one, or resolving a conflict, this habit will transform the way you interact with others. It teaches you the power of empathy and how truly listening can open doors to deeper understanding and more meaningful relationships. When you seek first to understand, you pave the way for greater harmony, cooperation, and effectiveness in all areas of your life. Habit 6. Synergize. Combine strengths to achieve far more than you could alone. Embrace the power of teamwork and collaboration. Habit 6 is all about creating synergy, a concept that means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. When you synergize, you bring together different perspectives, talents, and strengths in such a way that you produce outcomes far better than anything you could achieve individually. It's about celebrating differences and working together to create new possibilities that neither party could have envisioned alone. Covey describes synergy as the essence of creative cooperation. It's the process of bringing diverse ideas, approaches, and people together to forge new, innovative solutions. Rather than compromising or simply settling for something in the middle, synergy is about finding a new path that combines the best of both worlds and reaches beyond what either side could have imagined. To truly experience synergy, you must embrace diversity of thought, experience, and personality. Covey explains that the key to synergy is valuing the differences between people. When you understand that each person brings something unique to the table, you open yourself up to creative solutions that may not have been possible if you were working in isolation or with people who think exactly like you. One of the most powerful aspects of Habit 6 is that it turns differences into strengths. In most cases, differences in opinions, approaches, or ideas can lead to tension or conflict. But in a synergistic environment, these differences are seen as opportunities for growth and innovation. Instead of resisting or fearing these differences,
Hi friends, thank you so much for being a part of today's live session. Your comments, your love, your support, that's what gives me strength to keep going. Next time, I'll bring you another powerful motivational story. One that just might change your life forever. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and make sure you never miss a live session again. Thank you, my friends. Until we meet again, stay strong, stay inspired, and keep moving forward.